Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a new videos in this series, learning how to paint. This is gonna be a slightly different video. The last two videos were me painting, a time lapse of me painting. This is gonna be a live painting. Not sure how far we can finish the painting, but I'm gonna try to get it as finished as possible. I think we're gonna try a couple of different methods. Normally I just grab some brushes and start smashing down some colors. We're gonna do it slightly different this time, and it's gonna be a learning experience. We're gonna try to figure out how atmospheric perspective works and how we can indicate faraway detail, for instance a village in the distance, and how we can do that. I have some ideas on how to do it, but I want to practice it more, and I want you guys to learn it as well. Hopefully we can both learn from this experience. If you learn something from it, consider subscribing and liking this video, and hopefully we can learn a lot more together in the future. So let's get started. I started with a canvas. Let me see how big it is. It's not that big. We still need to increase the size. Let's make it 5,000 pixels wide. That's okay. I filled it in with a blue color. I got some reference pictures up on the second screen because I want to have some sort of. This is not gonna be about the composition or the design. This is more about the technique. So I don't want to be bothered with that. I don't want to spend a lot of time thinking about my composition and thinking about things like that. We're gonna use the lasso tool for this mainly, and I think I'm gonna use the airbrush for this. I think that's the perfect tool. At this point, the canvas is the same color. You know what? Let's darken it up. Let's say that this is the color of the canvas. Let's create a background color like that. Let's say this is a painting, this is a landscape. You can't see anything from it, of course, because it's all the same color. Now how can we start to indicate some stuff? Now first of all, let's create a sky. Where do we want the horizon to be? Let's go for a fairly low horizon. So we're gonna select this, and then we're gonna bring up the sky, and we can do that by lighten it up. So now you can see it's starting to change. Let's pretend this is the eastern sky in the evening. So the sky is quite light at the bottom, still because of the sun, and it's quite dark at the top. So now we have divided our painting. We got a horizon line, so we get some difference in it. Let's see. We want to get some mountains in it, and I think we're gonna paint all the mountains with the same value for the sake of this practice. And after that, we are going to we are going to separate the mountains out with changing the values. So let's say there is a mountain range somewhere over here, and it drops down, and we get a mountain right here. So we got some mountains. Let's delete the sky. And there are some mountains in the background as well. And we gotta remember that these mountains are in the background. But that doesn't really matter. Let's say there is a big mountain here in front as well. We cannot see it yet, but we will change that later. It will be perfectly visible later. And let's say that there is a big mountain range here in the back as well. So we're going to delete the sky there as well. So There's not much. There's not any difference between these mountains, so you cannot tell whether these mountains over here are far away in the distance, and this mountain is closer, and this mountain is closer, and there's an even closer mountain here. You cannot see it because it's all the same value. And I could make them different colors, but that wouldn't give that much depth into the painting. The color is different, but the value is still the same. So they all seem to be on the same plane from way of being, the same distance away. So the mountains in the back are lighter, and the mountains in the front are darker and have a lot more contrast. And the best way to explain that is, although air, you're looking through air, and air seems to be transparent, but it's actually not entirely transparent because there are a lot of water molecules in the air, especially on humid days. Things in the distance seem to be a lot less visible. And the best way to explain it is if you take a sheet of transparent plastic, a plastic sheet, which is perfectly transparent. If you pick one, you can look through it. But if you stack 10 on top of each other, the visibility becomes a lot less, and that's actually the same effect as looking through clear sky. So how can we change that? Well, we're gonna change the value of that, and to do that, I'm probably gonna go and create a new layer below the sky, and let's take the mountains in the distance first. Oh no, let's take the mountains which are close by. So we had this mountain over here, and we could perfectly take the one so it's perfectly lined up. Let's do that. Change our approach a little bit. That's not working because it's not all. Oh, let's use the lasso then. So let's roughly select the mountain. We don't have to select it perfectly. Imperfections are okay. So now we have selected this, we can grab the same airbrush. We select a slightly darker color, and we're gonna increase the value of this mountain. It's only just a tiny bit, not that much, like this. And now you are seeing, I did it on a long layer. That doesn't really matter actually. Let's work on one layer. We don't need all the layers. Now you can see that this mountain is clearly in front of the things in back here. So we're gonna do that for all the mountains. So we had this mountain range here, which is going to distance a little bit closer as well. Select the mountain in front as well. And you can do this two ways. You can either increase the darkness of the mountains in front, or you can increase the lightness of the mountains in the back. And most of the time I use both the methods. So I darken things up front and I lighten the things in the back. So let's select this as well, and select this as well just to be sure. This is actually not going to be our selection because we're going to select the inverse of that selection, and now we're going to lighten mountain in the back. And you can lighten up the bottom part a little bit more than the top part. That's okay. That's not entirely perfect, I think, as it works in real life, but it helps with the painting. It helps. So now we have a mountain far away in the distance, and we've got two mountains which are approximately the same distance from each other, so these two are on the same plane. We can change that if we want to. And we had decided at the beginning that there was one in front of these two. So let's say that it's over here. And to get this one, we need to get an even darker color. Let's grab this one and make one. I think the saturation a little bit. The color is slightly off. Let's increase the darkness. Layer selected. There we go. Now we have separated out these mountains. I probably should have done it on a separate layer so we could have switched on and off the layers so we could see the difference with just the sky and the different mountains. But it's a very, very simple way of creating depth in your painting. This is a very simple painting. There's not much to it. But that's how we can create depth. Now let's try to focus on bringing detail into the paintings and see how we can indicate details in the distance. How we should do that. To do that, I think I'm gonna work with textures because that's gonna speed up things tremendously. Let's quickly fix a couple of things about this painting. Not too much to fix, luckily for us. Let's see, let's quickly grab this brush, set it to 90. There are some slight issues with it. I think this is mostly done. Yeah, this is good. So let's collapse the layers. We don't need to preserve the layers, that's fine. So let's bring in some textures so we can start to work with some details, see how we can do that. Let me grab my reference pictures if I can find them. Yeah, there we are. And I think I'm gonna grab some pictures that I use as a reference as well. Let's see, I cannot find the right folder. There we are. And now we need to find the right pictures. Is quite a challenge sometimes. Need pictures with a lot of this might be good. Sure how this is gonna work, we just need the texture. Let's grab this bit. Rough selection. So we can have some textures on our mountains. So let's check what we want here. I think I like the dodge one. It lightens up the entire image though, so I'm not sure if that works. Green, good. Not a soft light. No. Maybe we should put this one. There's snow on this mountain. We don't really want snow actually. But this is not a good picture. Nope. At first I thought, you know what, there's a lot of texture, but there is also snow, and snow makes it quite hard. So I'll, of course, normally it doesn't really matter because we're just using it for the texture, and we can get rid of the snow quite easily. But because we want to be quite quick with this, we prefer speed. At this point, let's focus on the speed. Start with the right pictures. Cannot seem to find ones that I want, which is a shame. Ah, we can use this one for the sky. Let's quickly grab the sky. Let's throw it over there. Let's make it fit. See? Doesn't fit perfectly. All the stars. And let's see. Ooh, this is actually quite nice. And we want to get rid of this. That's quite easy. Yeah, that works. So we have a sky. Now we need the mountains. This is a nice textured one with Photoshop. Probably should be less picky about what I grab here instead of so picky. And I probably should wait a second. If I use this the texture for the entire painting, what happens? That actually works quite well. We need to find a setting that works the best though. This makes it really light, but that might work with the sky. Let's go for soft light, and let's do the same here. Let's get rid of this. Let's get a wand out. Let's use this layer. That doesn't work. Wand. Wand. Oh. Like this. Oh. Selecting first and get rid of that. Oh, not good. Get rid of that. All right, so so this is very rough, but that's okay. That's okay. This is about the learning. We could get a little bit less opacity to make it lighter. And I think we can judge which one is better now. A little bit better. Linear dodge is actually quite nice, but we'd have to. The textures don't really line up with the painting just yet, but that's fine. Color dodge. Yeah, let's take this one. We can darker the entire painting if you want. The thing is, we brought in some textures. The division between the different mountains here is actually quite visible. If you put on the textures and we let the textures stay like this, first of all, the textures don't line up with the painting, but that's not the point at this point. The point is to indicate faraway detail and things like that. I don't know about you, but for me, the painting flattens again when I add this texture. That's because I have got the same texture density all over the painting. So the amount of detail is the same when I'm looking close by as far away. So for instance, the detail here is the same density as the detail here. As you can see, there's a lot of detail here. And that's not what you want, because this is far away, so it can be detail, but it should be an indication of detail. It should be an indication. It shouldn't be that clearly visible. So we can go in there with a brush, and we can, if I can find my pen, there we are. We can get rid of a bunch of the detail. Basically, that's if you work with textures, but it works with anything. If you work with paint or whatever, just make sure that you indicate things in the distance rather than just one simple brush stroke can be a tree. Let's see, this should probably be there. Yes, that's better. So if we want to, we can. Well, that's perfect. Let's not focus too much on stuff. So what we can do, we can come in here with a brush. We can even take a really big one if you want to. And we can get rid of a bunch of that detail. We can set the brush to slightly less opacity, so we don't get rid of everything. We don't smear everything out. And some of the detail can stay, but most of it we need to get rid of because this is far away. We don't want everything to be there, and we can grab some. That's why working with this is so nice. We can grab some of the colors from the texture and put it on other places, and that way we have some color difference here and there. We probably should work on this edge to make it work a little bit better, to make it more of a mountain currently, or a mountain range. Currently it looks quite the opposite. It doesn't really work for me. We need to make sure that we spend too much time, and I need to make sure that I don't pick a really bright star for my color here, because that way the color doesn't line up. But this isn't about painting perfect mountains. This is about the detail. As you can see, there's still a lot of detail. So we just grab the brush and go in there. Let's do it really quick and rough. So let's paint out most of it. There can be some color difference, but we color pick here and there from the texture, and we're gonna use that as our indicators, as our color. And we can zoom out. And this isn't the perfect mountain because just sort of random, almost randomly throwing down the colors. And let's use the lighter colors down here because we want this to be the bottom to be a little bit lighter, so it's better separated from the second layer of mountains. We don't want it to be that light. So we almost get rid of the entire texture there. It's not brilliant. Yeah, the thing that I painted over there, it's not very nice. It's not very cool. But it definitely brought back the detail level. We can lower the opacity a little bit of the painting, so that way we a little bit with the texture. And I think that's just basically the way we can continue with this painting. We can do that the same for this. We probably should get rid of the snow. Let's bring the opacity back to 100%. I'm gonna go with it. You can always bring back some texture if you want, if you really want. You can grab some new textures, throw it on there. But this was just a demo to see if you have the same texture density all over the place. It's not really working. The same goes for here. And another way to blend it, I painted it now. But another way to do it is just to go back to the painting, select your mountains again. And that's even a quicker way. I should have thought about that earlier. Just select them again. Be careful. We have rough mountains, so that's It's not that hard to select. Well, if you have a complex painting, this is a bit harder, but you can use the free formula, so just take some time with it, and it's fine. And we can come back with it with a brush, and we can pick a color that's slightly lighter than the mountain, and we can come back with this, and we can say, you know what, we make the top a little bit darker, can lower the opacity a tiny bit. Let's say, let's make it 75%. So we separate this mountain from this one a little bit better again. I want this one to be in front of that one, so we're gonna go with a darker brush, and we're gonna darken this up. But what this does, this is the airbrush, so a lot of the detail from the texture gets lost, but there is still quite some detail. And once you get to the detailing phase, you can still use this. You can still go in there and say, you know what, this rock here, say there is a big rock here, so let's grab a bit of that color, get a tiny bit lighter. Then you can say, you know what, we're gonna paint out this rock. A lot of cracks here, and this. Let's slow the opacity a bit. There's a rock here as well. You can use the brush size a little bit, and you can go into this painting and bring out those details like that later on. So there's still some detail to work with, but there is a clear separation between the detail from this one and the one up front. So let's continue. Let's see if we're almost spending we're at half an hour already almost. So let's not do it like this. Let's try to select it perfectly, or almost perfectly. Same here. And let's go in there with the same airbrush we used before. And we want this to be behind this one. So we're gonna select a quite light color. And because we painted out snow, we're gonna erase the snow for now. Because the snow, well, we could flatten the layers, by the way, if you want to. Probably should, because we don't really need that much layers. So we got rid of quite some detail there as well. There's still quite some detail left. As you can see, there's still quite a bit of rocks. Can make some nice rocky top on this mountain. This is really square now, but we can change that if you want to. And to top off things, this front bit doesn't really look right. But instead of going in there, let's throw on another texture with. I kind of want to have some trees in there, so let's see if we can come up with a tree texture. I don't have a tree brush. There are tree brushes available. I probably should download some, because those are really helpful to just put in some trees and be done with it. But for now, I have to find the right photograph. I had one where there were trees in the foreground. You can see we are open with Photoshop. It isn't the perfect color for our painting, but that's okay. It is a nice size. Let's make it all the way to the top. Let's flip it horizontally, and let's see what we can then. This looks quite nice. We have to get rid of a bunch of it, though. Although we could just do it like this. Perspective isn't entirely correct. We can fix that. Like this. Maybe something like this. So there are some trees here in the foreground. Doesn't really work that perfectly, but and we need to somehow get rid of top there without totally ruining. This is fine. So we even got some clouds in it now, so that's nice. We can maybe use that to our advantage, and we need some more clouds. Ooh, that's not what we want. We want to zoom. Still not quite happy with how this turned out, so I'm gonna get rid of that, and we're gonna use the same technique as we did with other two mountains. So we're gonna go in there, select it, and we're gonna airbrush to get rid of most of the texture. So yeah. So wait. Select. Otherwise this won't work. No worries, we can select that later. Selection and as well. There we go. Brush. Choose this one and let's use a light color. Need to turn this layer off because it's on a layer effect that changes my. If I pick the color from the top layer, it changes my color too much. Let's do it like this. There's barely any detail left, but that's fine. I think it works. As you can see, there's quite a lot of the trees. It doesn't entirely work perfectly, but we can go in later if we want to. We have the base of the trees. It's basically there, and then we can go in there with a brush and paint the trees to be a little bit better visible, and can do that with the branches and stuff like that in there. So paint the tree. It's just a sure helps us with deciding where the tree is. We got some trees here, some more. So that's basically it. I'm not sure if the video was too helpful. For me, it was actually quite helpful because it helped me. Ooh, I'm on the wrong layer. That's why it doesn't work. For me, it was actually quite helpful because it helped me. Well, not necessarily learning. Yeah, did I learn new techniques? Let's say that I use the techniques that I normally use. I use them slightly differently. Currently looks a little bit like a photo bashed picture, but hopefully we can make it work. I think I'm gonna try to work on this a little bit more. to somehow finish it a little bit better and to be able to show you guys a finished product. It's actually too bad that well, we're gonna see how we're gonna fix that. At the end of the video, I'm gonna work on this one for a bit longer. For maybe I've worked on it for 35 minutes now. I think I'm gonna work for an hour on it. I'm gonna paint in it. I'm gonna use a detailing technique that I did in the last video, just going in there with a brush, indicating the details, painting out the details. So if you wanna see how that works, check out that video. It's part 2 of this series. It's the video before this one. I'm going to use that on this painting, maybe bring in some more textures, but I'm probably going to use what I have got on the canvas right now, and we're going to bring it to a semi complete level. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this one. I certainly did. I actually learned quite a lot about speeding up my process. For instance, this mountain, I used the brush first, but then after I used the big airbrush on this one and decided to do it on the mountains in the distance, that's really gonna speed up things in the future as well, I think. Yeah, I think this is actually quite a good method to just block out the first composition with the lasso tool. Just block out the values and then start throwing in some textures and work from there. I think that's actually quite a good method, so I might have learned a new method of working as well. I hope you enjoy it. I hope it was clear on the subject of atmospheric perspective and indicating detail. I think there's a lot more to it we can talk about, but maybe we will do that in a later video. I hope you enjoyed it for now, and if it was helpful to you, please like the video. Make sure to subscribe if you want to stay up to date with the channel, if you want to learn together with me, because it's not just me teaching you, it's also me teaching myself and enjoying the process. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!